Ireland, my brother's wedding, 2008. I was giving the best man speech in front of 300 people. And when you give a best man speech in Ireland, it's meant to be funny. And I thought my speech was going to be funny. Oh, unfortunately, the crowd didn't seem to think so either. So I started with my first joke, and I got silence. I had my second joke. I got even more silence. And then I had my third joke, and I got less than silence. I was dying on the stage. I looked to my brother for support, and he looked away in disgust. I looked to my sister for support, and she looked away in disgust. And I looked to my mother for support, and she just went, Now, in some cultures, is a sign of love. In Ireland, it is not one of those cultures. It was a moment of, oops, I did it again. I had a little bit of experience in my life of telling jokes where people didn't laugh. It's not the most pleasant experience, but this was my first time to do it in front of 300 people on a pretty spectacular level. And I felt it. Oops, I did it again. Now, my family enjoyed this greatly, and they enjoy talking about this afterwards and embarrassing me this. And actually, the one great thing that they have now is they actually have that speech on video. And every time I go home at Christmas, they threaten to show the video. Oh, how I love my family. But then I found a better solution to put myself back together again, and that was to go back to my Toastmasters club and to get a bit of love and support from my Toastmaster club members. And I took their advice, and they said, get back on the horse again, get back on stage again. I took their advice, and I took a break of speaking for 1.5 years before I got back on that horse again. And so I got back on the horse, and I entered a speech contest. And the speech contest actually went quite well. And I went through the first round, and then I went through the second round, and there was a third round. And then I was getting, you try to improve the speech every time to the next level. And in my infinite wisdom, I decided to add another joke just before going into the fourth level, just going into district level. I just add that one last little joke that was going to absolutely help me win that contest. And so I went to the contest. The speech got a good reaction. I did well. The joke got a good laugh. However, the problem was not everybody in the audience enjoyed that joke. One audience member was actually a member of my club who that joke was actually about. And they got offended. They actually got highly offended. They got so offended, they wrote a letter to the board of the club to get me removed from the club and threaten me with legal action. That my joke was so offensive. So now I had gone from getting silences to getting legal actions from bad jokes. I was moving up the scale. And a few weeks later, I was back home in Ireland, and I was in the pub, as you do in Ireland, and we met some old friends that I knew from my teenage years, and there was this girl I met that I knew from a long time ago, and I was telling her this story. Now, this girl has ended up married and kids, a very, very successful career, and I was telling her this story, and she says, but do you not remember when we were 14 and you made me cry? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And she said, yeah, when we were 14, you told a joke, and you made a joke about her braces. And I was like, I didn't even remember. She said she went home and cried for a week. It took me 30 years later to find out that this had actually happened. So I was moving up the scale. I was telling jokes. I was getting silences. I was getting legal actions. I was making people cry. So what is the next thing you can do? Well, the advice I got, and it was from a Toastmaster, Julie Kersitz, and she said, what you need to do, Mel, is start stand-up comedy. I said, but stand-up comedy, I can't do that. I mean, I'm not funny and I upset people. And she said, stand-up comedy is perfect for you. So I ended up joining a stand-up comedy workshop. This is 2013-14 in Prague, of all places. And there was two Irish guys running this workshop, Kieran and Luke. And they put us through the paces. They taught us all the tricks of the trade, how to do it and all this. And at the end of the 2 days, we were going to give our very first comedy routine in front of a live audience in a pub in downtown Prague. The training was so tough, actually 2 people left the training midway and another guy was threatening to leave. They were so traumatized from the training of what they had to go through. But I was a Toastmaster. I was better than that. I could take it. So on the night then, on the Sunday evening, after 2 days of comedy training, I'm there, I'm in downtown Prague, I'm giving my speech, I'm giving my routine. I've started with my first joke. Silence. I'm thinking, oh no, oops, I did it again. But they had taught me, tell a lot of jokes, and at least they'll laugh at some of your jokes. So then I told a second joke. And then I got a laugh and I was, yay. And then I told my third joke and I got silence. And I was like, oops, I did it again. But then the fourth joke. So it became a roller coaster. And the trick there was just tell many jokes. At least one of them will land in due course. So this was my fantastic journey of ups. I did it again. From telling jokes in front of many hundreds of people and nobody laughing and my family disowning me, to telling jokes at Toastmaster events and club members wanting to sue me, to telling jokes in my teenage years and making people cry and I didn't even know about it, to standing on a comedy stage and oops, I did it again, and I sometimes was able to make them laugh, but I didn't have to worry about the legal action afterwards.